Imagine you're handed a Chinese toolkit and told, build the next breakthrough device. You've got raw ideas, solid research chops, maybe even a draft paper, but somehow by the time you graduate, you've never filed a patent, launched a prototype, or started a company. Sound familiar? That's because the classic innovation pipeline, idea, research, patent, paper, product, startup has big cracks when it runs through most universities. Where does the pipeline stall? Idea to research, yes, but then what? In school, you're rewarded for deep dives, literature reviews, experiments, and academic rigor. But once the research wraps up, you face a choice: write a paper or chase a patent. Most professors push papers since journals judge careers, while patents feel murky and slow. Patents feel alien. Question: have you ever taken a class on intellectual property? Answer: probably not. Students rarely learn how to spot patentable inventions, draft claims, or navigate legal offices. As a result, ideas that could protect your work slip straight into open literature. Exciting for academia, disastrous for commercialization. Papers eclipse products. You craft a rigorous journal article and celebrate, only to discover that translating those results into a working prototype is a whole new skill set. Engineering courses teach you analysis and design, but building a manufacturable, market-ready device requires project management, quality control, and supply chain know-how that you've never practiced. Startup skills are nowhere in the curriculum. Question: if you wanted to launch a company tomorrow, what classes would you take? Answer: likely none unless you sought out a niche entrepreneurship elective. Navigating term sheets, customer interviews, pitching to investors, these are learned on the job after graduation, often at great personal cost. Why did education get so skewed? Incentives misaligned. Professors rise through tenure by publishing papers and winning grants. Universities boost rankings via citation metrics. Patents and startups get a footnote, if that. Silos everywhere. Departments specialize: chemistry, mechanical engineering, business school. Yet real-world innovation demands cross-disciplinary teams. Without formal bridges, communication breaks down. Risk aversion. Academia prizes rigor and reproducibility. Startups thrive on fast iterations and fail-fast mindsets. Those cultures clash, leaving students unsure which map to follow. How can we mend the pipeline? IP literacy early on. Integrate patent spotting workshops into research methods courses so students learn to protect ideas before publishing. Hands-on prototype courses. Move beyond simulation. Require every capstone project to reach a working demo under real-world constraints. Cost, manufacturability, safety. Rossero's programs co-supervise teams with an engineering professor and an entrepreneurship coach, so technical depth and business savvy grow in tandem. Reward startups on par with papers. Recognize and fund student ventures as part of academic success metrics. Celebrate company formation at convocation alongside thesis defenses. What if we fix these cracks? Imagine graduating with not just a strong publication record, but with a provisional patent, a functioning beta prototype, and a small customer pipeline. Your transition from lab bench to boardroom becomes seamless. By teaching the full journey from spark of inspiration to startup launch, modern scientific and engineering education can truly turn bright ideas into real-world impact. Scientific education is primarily structured around deep specialization, methodological rigor, and publication metrics, not around market relevance or startup thinking. As a result, students and researchers are rarely trained to think about commercial value, intellectual property strategy, or product market fit. The traditional academic reward system values theoretical contribution over application. This disconnect discourages translating ideas into impact-driven ventures. A foundational culture gap exists between academic research and entrepreneurial ecosystems. PhD students may publish multiple papers on a promising material without realizing it could be patented or developed into a commercial sensor. It's like teaching someone to compose symphonies, but never showing them how to stage a concert or sell tickets. Universities reward faculty and students based on publications, citations, and grants, not on successful tech transfer or startup creation. Patents, prototypes, and startup launches often fall outside tenure criteria or course credit systems. This creates friction between academic recognition and real-world innovation. Professors may actively avoid commercialization to avoid being seen as non-serious researchers. Thus, innovation that should continue past the lab often dies due to institutional inertia. A professor discovers a breakthrough biosensor but chooses to publish it without filing a patent, fearing it will slow their academic progress. It's like growing rare fruits but throwing them away because your garden is judged only by how many seeds you collect. The innovation pipeline demands collaboration across science, engineering, design, business, and law. Yet university programs remain heavily siloed. Students in physics rarely learn intellectual property law, and engineers may never study entrepreneurship. This fragmentation prevents holistic understanding of how to translate inventions into startups. Even capstone projects or incubator courses are often add-ons, not integrated into the core curriculum. Without interdisciplinary fluency, innovators fail to bridge lab and market. An engineering student creates a drone platform but has no exposure to regulatory, legal, or investment frameworks needed for commercialization. It's like building a car without ever learning how roads, traffic laws, or gas stations work. Many scientists and engineers graduate without understanding how to protect or license intellectual property. Patent timing, prior art searches, and freedom to operate analyses are crucial but overlooked skills. Without this knowledge, promising inventions are often disclosed publicly in papers, eliminating future patentability. Even when patents are filed, they are often too narrow, too vague, or poorly timed. This disconnect weakens the chain between research and entrepreneurship. A student publishes a novel drug delivery method in a journal, unaware that public disclosure prevents future patenting. It's like revealing your treasure map to the public before marking it as yours. Turning a research prototype into a market-ready product requires iterative design, regulatory compliance, user testing, and manufacturing know-how. Most academic labs lack the infrastructure, funding, or incentives to support this transition. Once proof of concept is achieved, projects often stall due to the valley of death, the stage between lab success and investable startup. Bridging this gap requires external support that is rarely built into academic structure. Thus, many potentially world-changing ideas remain stuck as papers or lab demos. A university team builds a water purification membrane that works in the lab, but fails to scale due to lack of funding or design for manufacturability. It's like inventing a recipe that tastes amazing, but never having a kitchen to serve it to the world. Startups need more than ideas. They need networks, seed capital, legal guidance, and experienced mentors. Universities often provide incubators or tech transfer offices, but access is limited or under-resourced. Many faculty members lack real entrepreneurial experience, making mentorship uneven. Students are left navigating complex commercialization landscapes with little guidance. Without embedded support, innovations fail to cross the chasm. A student with a promising wearable health sensor fails to find a mentor with both regulatory and startup experience to guide productization. It's like setting sail with no map, compass, or captain. You're adrift, even with a seaworthy ship. The publisher-perish culture incentivizes rapid paper output over long-term development cycles. Innovators often abandon promising ideas after initial publication, rather than iterating toward robust applications. Journals rarely reward replication, validation, or optimization, the very steps needed to transition research into products. Startups, however, require time-consuming user feedback loops and resilience. This misalignment discourages persistence through technical and commercial challenges. A novel AI algorithm is published and cited widely, but no one implements it in real-world systems due to lack of follow-up engineering. It's like sketching a brilliant bridge but never building it, because you've already been rewarded for the drawing. Most scientific grants focus on novelty and fundamental questions, not on practical outcomes or product market readiness. Grant applications emphasize hypotheses, not business plans or user needs. There are limited funding streams dedicated to translational science, prototype scaling, or venture formation. This discourages researchers from pursuing applied paths. Even when their findings have clear commercial potential, research pipeline breaks when financial incentives don't reward crossing from lab to market. An applied nanotech discovery receives research funding but fails to attract follow-up grants for field deployment or clinical trials. It's like funding the drawing of blueprints, but not the construction of the building. In some academic cultures, commercialization is seen as compromising scientific purity. Students and faculty may fear judgment for focusing on profits or industry impact. This stigma creates a barrier between academic research and entrepreneurial ambition. Innovation is thus culturally decoupled from application and impact. Until this mindset shifts, the pipeline will remain fragmented. A PhD student is discouraged from pitching a startup idea because their department prioritizes theoretical research. It's like a chef being told cooking for a restaurant cheapens their culinary theory.